I think we are live now.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, we are live. Assalamu alaikum and good evening to all our viewers. I am Pirzada Shoaib from IUST Alumni Council with yet another episode of Alumni Connect series. At the outset, let me thank IUST Alumni Council for providing me with this opportunity to host this episode. Tonight with me is Dr. Hilal Makroo. Welcome, Dr. Makroo, to the show.
Walaikum assalam, and thank you very much for giving me this chance to have a talk on this platform. I would really like to share, uh, you know, I have been associated with this university for the last 3 years as a faculty, but I was from the first batch in 2006 when there was only one BTech program in the university. And university campus was just two buildings, which you can see right now is the administration and the building of school of management. It was the entire campus for us, and I believe by the time I left, uh, for after my program, the second building of which is now I guess civil engineering is there. So these three buildings I have seen when I left, but now it is completely different. The campus has grown in all prospects, like the infrastructure,
That's
the population.
the, that's nice to hear, and it's a pleasure for us that you are here with us. To introduce
Thanks.
Dr. Makroo formally, for our viewers, Dr. Makroo is an alumnus of IUST from where he did his graduation in food technology way back in 2010. Afterwards, he pursued his master's and then PhD in food technology from Tezpur University. He is also a proud recipient of the Commonwealth Split Site Scholarship, which enabled him to actually work in the University of Surrey for an year or so in 2016-17. Currently, Dr. Makroo is a faculty member at the Department of Food Technology, Islamic University of Science and Technology. Besides that, he is also technical manager in a Ministry of Food Processing Industry of Government of India. His interests include recovery of industrially important compounds from food waste. For this, he is collaborating with Department of Chemical Engineering, NIT Jalandhar, and Department of Chemical Engineering, Unicinos, São Leopoldo, Brazil. So let's begin this show. Usually, the first question we ask our guests on the show is about their journey at IUST when they started their studies at IUST. So, Dr. Makroo, let me ask you, how was it at IUST way back in 2006? I believe you were one of the very first students, not only of the Department of Food Technology, but of the entire university. And in those days, year 2006-7, I don't think there were more than 150 or 200 students at the campus. How was it being a part of the university where there are only 150 odd students? It would have been exciting, and at the same time, it would have been a bit surprising to be part of such a small university. What are your thoughts about?
Now, yeah, definitely it was very small, but my journey started with which I would like to show you something. I have the admit card of my BTech program. Well, I appeared in the entrance of the university. That's with me. I recently was. I would like to show you.
Yeah, it's visible.
So my journey started with this. I appeared in an entrance, and because of the flood in 2006, the admission got a little late, and we started our program in late September. And in my batch, we were 36, and I guess in total in university, the total count of students was 123 or 130, something like that. And total people working or students teaching, non-teaching, even including the security staff, it was nearly 150. So it was a very small campus. So when we used to organize some tournaments, sometimes we need to make the two sets of teams. We need to ask teams from other places, like we have some higher secondaries here. So you can imagine that how much small this campus was at that time. And as I said that there were only two buildings, so we used to have lunch outside. So you can easily see the people from other department having lunch, like people from management science. We are still in contact with many people, like from MCA. We are connected with a lot of people. So those memories were very, like, it seems, it doesn't seem that it has been more than 12 or 13, 14 years. But every day when I go to a campus, I just go back to that time where we have started. And we had only one tea stall there. So you can see that, you can imagine that everybody was going there for whatever he or she wants. So, and there was no, choices. It was a samosa and a tea, or maybe a local bread there. That was what we get to eat on the campus in the very beginning. Then came the canteen, and library was in the same building where there is, I think there is a seminar hall for management science now. That was a library. And uh, we had a playground near, where right now there is the building of this electronics and communication and the academic
Electronics and
block for
communication.
clerks. Yeah, that was the playground
Right.
for us. So
Yeah.
it was completely different. Just two buildings, 150 people, at least for one first year. So you can say that I and everybody knows everyone on the campus by face, by name. So we begin from the very
That's
small family, and the family has now become very big in terms of the number of people working there, the departments there, and the students, and obviously the infrastructure.
that's very good to hear. That certainly brings some of the old memories back. Those were the good older times. And as you said, we knew everyone at the university, from students to staff to faculty, everyone across the departments. So they were
Exactly.
really good times. Yes. Okay, let's move on. Tell us about your journey afterwards, your journey after the IUST. You went on to pursue higher studies. What was the
Yeah, in
rationale behind this decision? Was it because of lack of jobs or placement at IUST that you didn't opt for a job, or was there something else that you pursued higher studies?
to be honest, if I would have got a job at that moment, because in 2010 we all know that the situation was not good, and it was very difficult to even get admission. You can't think of job at that time. The entire state, especially the valley, was closed. I remember that how I have got my mark sheet of my grade card of the all semesters, so that I can produce it to anybody who asks me, either for my job or to get an admission. I still remember that there were only three people who were working in the examination section, and one of them was not aware about the printer they had at that time, and he was not able to give me print, and he made lot of mistakes, and he wasted lot of papers to get my this mark sheet printed, and I still remember that. So you can say that there were a lot of reasons to go for higher studies. I am still saying that should I have got a job at that time, a good job at that time, I would not have been here as a faculty. Maybe I would have been working in some industry, or probably I would have been a entrepreneur by this time. But when I tried to connect with my teachers here. So I got to know about some places where I can go for post graduation. So I analyzed many prospects. Then I decided that where I have to do my PG from. And in my PG, I got
That's
interest of doing research, because the university where I was, where I have got my PG from, that is a Central University in Assam, Tezpur University. Tezpur is a place in Assam. It is a historical place, and it was back in history. It has been the capital of that area at that time. So so during my MTech, I got interest of doing PhD, and in my PhD, I opted for a very different problem, which was out of the scope of the department at that time. And during my PhD, I got a chance to go to Birmingham. I went to Paris, and I studied there. then I got interested in, doing further research. And before I finished my PhD, I got an opportunity to get associated with my alma mater here in IUST under the assistant professor. So it was really nice to join back my uh, alma mater there. And I saw a different department which I had left in 2010, you can say. So in terms of everything, like the people there, the department's vision has changed, the activities has changed. Obviously, the program they have started PG and PhD we started when I was there. So the journey was long, but as at the moment I joined back IUST, I didn't find that I had left it any time. I find it just I finished my BTech a day before, and today I joined back my university. So the journey was long, but for me, it seems that the journey was short. But being a faculty there, it gives me, I feel proud that I'm working in the same department where I have got my bachelor's from.
I think we all at IUST should feel lucky that you didn't get a job way back in 2010, because you are a very, very good teacher and a very great researcher. We all are lucky at IUST to have you. So you talking
Thank you
about
so much, but I
research,
don't consider myself
talking
as a good teacher. Like I still tell my students that being a teacher is a very tough job. To be honest, to call somebody as a teacher is a very
exactly,
difficult job, because it's not about books. You don't have to teach only the subject to the your students. You have to teach them a lot of things. Sometimes you have to motivate them, sometimes you have to control them, sometimes you have to mingle with them to understand what they want. But sometimes out of many things, sometimes we have a lot of workload, and we don't cope up with what our actual duties are. So being a teacher is a very difficult thing, and for research I'm a very beginner, so I'm learning from my seniors there.
exactly. Talking about the research, let's discuss about the Commonwealth Split Site Fellowship you received in 2016-17. It gave you an opportunity to work at one of the leading universities of the world, University of the Surrey, for an year or so. There are actually a couple of questions related to this. First, tell us about this fellowship. I know it's a
Yeah,
very prestigious
last
fellowship,
yeah.
and secondly, I want to know what was the impact of this fellowship uh, and working in a prestigious university on your overall career. I am sure there would have been a lot of positive takeaways from that year you were at University of Surrey. Can you please elaborate
Yeah,
on these 2 points?
see, I started my application, I still remember it was November 17, 2015. I submitted my this, and on the 4th of the March 2016 I got the call that my application has been accepted. And there were 4 guys from India who got this fellowship. 2 of them I know, because one was from IIT Guwahati, and luckily he was in the same university, but in the department of civil engineering. And another guy was from my department. He went to Leeds for 12 months. So it was really a nice experience when I went to. It was my first time when I was traveling abroad. So when I reached there, it took me few weeks to get adjusted with the environment there. To be honest, I was not doing anything for first 2 weeks. I just was going there, and sometimes I used to read, but I couldn't start my research immediately when I reached there. And the culture there is completely different. The people work from 9 to 5. There is no work beyond 5. Otherwise, in India, what we do here, that sometimes people used to work. Even I have done work until midnight. Sometimes I close my lab early in the morning at 4 or 5. But there it is completely different. So I had to cope up with many things. But by the time I understood how the system works here, how to approach the people, how to mix up with the people, it got easy for me. And what I learned from there was the culture of work is completely different. People are very much strict with their schedule. I will tell you one instance. Once I asked one of my senior colleague, I need I need access to a particular machine in their lab. So she was from Italy, and she told me that I will give you time, but if you can't make that time, then I can't give you time this month. You can imagine that it was just the first week of the month, and she told me that you have to wait for another month. So I told her when. She said Thursday, quarter to 3. You just pop up in my lab. I will give you access. I will give you demonstration. Then you can access the lab. So you can imagine when I reached there, I reached exactly quarter to 3, and I found her. She was ready with everything what she was supposed to demonstrate me about. And then I had to cope up with these things, because if somebody asks me that I have to be there, I have to be at the shop at that time there. Or if somebody wants help from me, I cannot say that, oh, I forgot or something like that, or we can do it next time. So being on time is what I could learn from there. Second thing is, people mind their business. They don't do anything. They don't discuss anything which is not related to them. I had many friends which were in the same group or in the same department from different places of the world. So being on time, minding your own business, and they never to be honest, my department there was chemical engineering, and here I was in food technology, and food technology is not a core engineering. So when I reached there, I thought that they may think that he is not a core engineer, and I was a bit, you know, I was not so
Nervous.
much. Yes, so I felt nervous to discuss my research with them. But once French lady, she entered my lab and she asked me, "What you do?" I said, "I work on the food, and presently I am working on its characteristics and how it flows." So she was surprised, and she asked me about more. What exactly do you do, and what is your research about? Then she peacefully she listened to me, and she was very happy, and she appreciated me. You do a nice work. Other than here, what people, I'm not saying about me only, but anything which we don't find of our own interest or which we don't like, we just we don't appreciate them. But there it was different. People used to appreciate, and they listen. They don't talk first, but they listen, and after listening to you, they respond. So that these are the small things which I observe there myself, and otherwise it is completely different. Everything is totally different there. People, I had a friend, he was from North England. Once a guy from India, he entered his lab, and by mistake he touched him while he was passing through his chair. So he was very surprised that how he can do this. But I told him he is from India, where in the capacity of 52 number of people in a bus, there are 520 people. So it is very common for him. So it is not unusual for him. So let it be. Actually, he was an undergraduate, so he didn't tell him anything, but he told me because he thought that I'm also from the same place. So then he discussed this thing with me. So these are
Okay.
the
So
things which I observe.
you talked about a entirely different culture. If I ask you to compare about your time at University of Surrey and at IUST, I'm sure
Mhm.
there will be a lot of things that IUST can learn and copy from the work culture there. Can you please elaborate on this? How we can copy the work culture, or how we can learn
I,
certain things so that we can improve in near future?
to be
Is there
honest, I
anything that
don't.
we can actually copy?
Yeah, I don't think whether it is practical here or not, but many things like if you need a document, you don't need to go from office to office. It will reach to you through email. You just have to write an email from your official email ID. You have to CC your boss, and that boss will give a signal, yes, this is this. So I will tell you related to this one example. I was traveling to Brazil, and to get my visa, I need a document from the university, so that which I have to attach with the application of my visa. Then only I can apply for visa. So I thought that it will be a very long process like it is here. So I started asking an administrative officer in my department that I am going to Brazil and I want my this documented letter. So I thought I have to write an application, then I have to get it signed from my boss, then to the head of the department, then maybe some dean. She said, "Why are you asking me? You just write a mail to your boss. That's it." So I wrote a simple two-line email to my boss there, and he just forwarded it to the same lady which I was talking to. She has the power to give me a. She was simply like we have administrative officer, like we have JTA, STA in our department. She was same kind of official there. So when I wrote an email to my boss, after 10 minutes, I'm getting a mail back with an attachment. He just said, go and take print. And I got the letter in hardly in 25 minutes. So this is how they save time. They don't make you move from one place to another place. They basically make everything easy. There, everything is easy. Even if you want a chemical, you don't have to rush from here and there. Everything is on website. You have to find in which store it is available. You have to just click it. Your immediate boss will give a signal, and you can collect it. You can go and he will give you a code. You have to give that code and you can collect whatever you want. I'm just telling you because we are associated with the chemical analysis. Sometimes we need some chemicals which are not available in the stock or in your lab. So if you want it, it will be immediately available to you within very short time. So time, I think, is what there I could see that they do a lot of work in very short time. For the same work, it takes a lot of time here, and it engages a lot of people. So basically, it's not only the time of a particular guy, but many people who involved in this process lose a lot of time. So time basically is very important there. Being on time
They
and
value time.
conservation of time. Yeah, they value time. They value everything. They value, you know, everything they value. The other things are like what we can do, the waste management. I'm from the chemical, means there I was in the chemistry department, sorry, chemical engineering department. So how they manage the chemicals, like what we do, we simply whatever analysis we do in our labs, we just throw the chemicals. There was no sophisticated, no hi-fi arrangements were there. What they do, they put small cans there in the lab. If you have any chemical residue, you have to throw it in a particular can, but those cans were marked that you can put only this type of chemical, like you have to put acids in a separate can. If you are working on some other kind of metal containing chemicals, you have to put it in some other sun, and then they take it. And then I asked a lab in charge there, what you do. They said that we recover from it. We don't throw it directly. We don't directly throw it outside.
That's
We
crazy.
recover whatever can be recovered from it. So for example, if it is containing some heavy metals, we don't let it go to the soil. So we will recover the heavy metals first, then we will throw the waste. So waste management, I think university is at the very beginning, so we can adopt these things. These are small things which we can adopt.
Okay, nice. So getting back to the university, to IUST, you have been working at Department of Food Technology for I think 3 years now, and the university has grown leaps and bounds in last 10 years since the time you left the university as a student. But at the same time, there are still few areas of concern. One of them is placements. How do you see scenario at your department regarding placements, and what do you think should be done in recent future to better the placements? Let me put it like this: what do you think are the necessary steps that must be taken in next couple of years to better the placement scenario at IUST?
See, I think what I, since last 3 years, because the situations was not good, so we couldn't do much work in the line of placing our students. But to be honest, we have a kind of perception that we don't we can't place our students at good places. But I think that perception is not right, because not all, but 20 or even 10% of students, our students can do better, can compete with students of very reputed institutions outside the state.
reputed
And
institutions.
coming to the our department, one thing is that we don't have in the valley or even in the UT of J&K, we don't have, you know, many places where we can place our students. But if we move further, like in Punjab, in Delhi, and outside India, there are a lot of multinational companies who actually need the people who have the knowledge of food science, food engineering, food processing. So, and if we try to, remove this gap, like if we have 10 boys in our this outgoing batch and they are ready to join in industry, we should make it easy for them so that they can appear at least in their interviews. So that, for example, if the company is not willing to visit our campus, is there any other way so that we can send our students? Maybe they will take their interviews in Delhi, in Punjab, or maybe in Jammu. So if we can remove this gap, I think it will be a very one of the step by which we can place our students. Second thing is that, as I said, that there is a perception by the time students are leaving, we are in hurry, we have to just conduct exam and we just let them go. But in the last year of there, we should polish our students. We should ask them to do some trainings, do some add-on courses, so that when they put their CV in front of an industry, in front of an HR of an industry, they should be happy with their CV. Otherwise, their CV is just what I did. I did a BTech, rest is empty. But they should have a very strong CV, and the people of industry should be happy to receive them. So these are the things which we should start working on. We should, start working
Okay,
towards to make
that's
the towards the very beginning of, increasing the placement of
to
our
make things
university. I
better.
think, yeah, I think this to bring this gap of, industry is very far, and nowadays we do it on online. But even if it is offline, university should put such effort so that we, if they are not
That
coming, let us go to them, let us sell our students. We go, we will, basically placement is selling. I have been, means my friends, a lot of people I have seen placements of NITs or very good institutions, how they do, how they, motivate the industries, how stressful this job is at the end of by in the last semester of their BTech program, like how they call the industries, how students pressurize the placement officer of the university, that we have to go to this university, we have to make these templates. If you can't go, let us go to them. We will try to motivate them. So, and once the placement record is better, it is very easy to get placement in the next session, because they can see the past displacements of the university, obviously. So if they see that we have already hired their 2 or 3 students, they are doing well, then we can become site of this attraction for other industries and that industry as well. And
exactly,
this way we can
exactly,
make our alumni in better places. And once after 10, 12 years, when they will be at higher positions, then it becomes very easy to motivate the industry to get the placements from our campus.
exactly, exactly. So, because of lack of jobs and placements, a lot of students in each department, in every department, they opt for higher studies, and also in food tech, a lot of students they plan for higher studies. What's your message for those students of your department who are planning to pursue higher studies after graduating from IUST? How should they plan? And also, if you can brief us about some good fellowships, scholarship avenues for higher studies in food technology, both in the country and abroad.
Yeah, like uh, recently many fellowships were curbed by the government because of there's financial issues in the country, but there are still a lot of fellowships for PG and PhD program. Like in our terms, every center and national institutes have got some AICT this sponsored seats in their MTech and PG programs. So they generally advertise them, and our students can apply, and many more. Once you join, there are many opportunities like in our terms, like ICR also provides some financial support, and some NGOs and some big companies like GE Money also offer some fellowships. There are many my juniors, or I have taught them in my PhD. Many of them got a fellowship from GE Money. And abroad, there are a lot of scholarship, but to get a scholarship in undergraduate is very difficult. And generally, there are no scholarships for UG programs. But for PG and PhD, there are many options. Like we can apply for Commonwealth. Recently, Common India has been, you know, considered that it is not economically weak. So Commonwealth has stopped giving fellowships for, you know, PG and PhD. But there are Fulbright where people can go and do their research in US. There is a PG, Fulbright for PG, Fulbright for visiting scholar, and Fulbright for PhD. Fulbright Nehru Fellowship I am talking about. Second is the DARD for Germany. There is one short-term fellowship for France. I forgot the name, but it is for 3 to 6 months. So if we see, there are a lot of fellowships, and above fellowships, many people call. If I know that this is my area, if I follow people on LinkedIn, if I follow people on ResearchGate, a lot of people, you know, do notify that I have a position of PG student which will be sponsored, and he or she will be working on this particular area. And if that very area is, you know, match, if I clear the interviews, a particular organization, but fellowships from you know, projects and sponsored projects are also, a lot of such opportunities are also available. Another fellowship is that Madam Curie, this Horizon 2020 for, you know, Eastern Europe, and Madam Curie Fellowship and folks to their to the awardee.
What's the expected here? Getting a good fellowship. What's the expected here? Expected here? Because what I know of you, you have received a couple of very good fellowships in your career. So, what's the expected here so that a student, maybe
See,
a graduate
in
student or a postgraduate student, will get a
in
good
in in such
fellowship?
cases, like, to be honest, what I felt one, oh yeah, I was talking about this French, that is some CV Raman fellowship is there in fellowship, this friend France, that's for PhDs only. You can go, a PhD scholar can go and work there for 3 to 6 months. And there is Newton Bhabha scholarship for UK. That was for 6 months, but that is now for 4 months only. You can visit a lab, or you can do your research of 6 months, 6 to 4 months there. So expectations is generally these application process of any international fellowship is generally very lengthy. So a lot of people, they start applying, but by the time they leave it in the midway, because you need a lot of
They give up
documents. You
midway.
need, yeah, but it's not like that. A guy should not give up, because if you have started it, you should always keep in mind that I should finish it. And once you reach, and if you can't succeed in the interview, if you can't succeed in, you know, your research is not, they don't consider your research at par, so that they call you, you should not feel disappointed. Rather you should try again, rather you should try parallelly. I To be honest, I will tell you, at the time I applied for Commonwealth, I was parallelly applying for 4 fellowships. One was DART, one was CV Raman, one was for Fulbright Nehru. I got a call from CV Raman for interview, but by that time I had already cleared Commonwealth. So I replied them that I have got this fellowship, so I will not appear in the interview. So expectation is that, first of all, your research should have impact. Whatever you are proposing, it should have an impact. Third is, the guy who will be your supervisor there in your the place, host place, his interest and your interest should completely match. You cannot go a problem of microbiology to a person who is working in chemical engineering, or who is a scientist in physics. So even if it is in same, even if he is microbiology, but there are different aspects of microbiology as well. So first of all, you have to be in line with the research. And second thing is, for PG programs, again, the process is very lengthy. Students should not give up. Let's Let me tell you one example, that you have to give 3 recommendation letters from your uh, teachers or from a faculty in India. But what people do, who will ask for 3 recommendations? I can't manage it. They don't want to approach their teacher. They don't want to approach people for recommendations. So this is a very basic thing. You don't have to do it. Once they approach, then the recommender, if he asks him, okay, give me your short CV, they don't send CV. So you have to give a little bit of efforts to achieve something. Otherwise, I always tell people, it is
Exactly.
not difficult to get a fellowship abroad. Anybody can go, but you have to you know do little bit of preparations. And I wish every PhD guy should once visit a international lab, because or international group of research, because it is very important. And it open our eyes that what we see here is completely different there, like how they work, how to do research, what should be the approach, how they write, how they manage. There was a course, stress management, in PhD, that how you have to manage the stress. For example, I have communicated 2 publications and both of them got revision, and revision is a bit tricky, and parallelly my experiments going on. So how to manage, how to you know cope up under such conditions. So these type of uh, uh, activities were being done there, that how a person has to manage his stress, workload, how you have to cope up with your workload.
Exactly.
So in nutshell, I will tell you that if anybody is willing to apply, first of all, he or she should read the instructions carefully. Then he should start from the beginning, and he should make a diary, that what I have to do, what I have to keep ready. So he should start these things months before, because it takes time. Like if you are applying for fall next year, you have to start preparation this year only. So it's a slow process. You have to keep sending documents, preparing documents. And expectation is that, what I said, that there should be an impact of what you are proposing. Second thing is that the host there should be in line with your research.
Exactly. That's really nice to hear from you. It's a request that you have mentioned a lot of foreign fellowships. If you can, please write them up in our comment section so that the students who are watching may benefit. At this
At the
note, I
moment, I
think
think I will do that later, because at this moment
you
I
can do
don't
it
have the
later,
access
maybe
to it.
tomorrow
Yeah.
also. Maybe in tomorrow
No, I will
also.
do it
It
right
was
tonight only,
really
but later.
no problem. It's really okay. Whenever you have time, you can do it. It was really nice talking to you. I think we are limited by that time, and I think it's time to say goodbye to our viewers. It was really nice talking
Okay.
to Dr. Makroo. Thank you very much for coming to this show, and I thank all my viewers for watching us tonight. Thank
Okay.
you.
If there is any comment, you can comment on saying thank you very much, Shoaib. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Thanks.